Welcome to Sodanonymous. I'm your host, Sodanonymous. Today's episode is going to be on Diet Pepsi. First things first, we got the fun facts here. Let's go over that real quick. Diet Pepsi originally debuted in 1963 as Patio Diet Cola in response to the success of RC Cola's Diet Right. In 1964, the drink was renamed Diet Pepsi and became the first nationally distributed Diet Cola in the United States. Diet Pepsi was originally sweetened with saccharin, but was switched to aspartame in 1983. In 2013, Diet Pepsi was reformulated with sucralose instead of aspartame in response to the growing distrust of the latter and the growing popularity of the former in the form of Splenda. By 2016, fan outcry was widespread enough that PepsiCo released Diet Pepsi Classic Sweetener Blend alongside the new formulation. In 2018, they dropped the sucralose variety and renamed the Classic Blend back to just Diet Pepsi, which is what we have here today. Diet Pepsi has had numerous flavors over the years, currently is regionally available in regular, wild cherry, vanilla, and lime. All right, well, with that out of the way, let's get on with the review. All right, Diet Pepsi. I'm kind of interested in trying this. I know I've had it before. I don't think I've had it more than once or twice in my entire life. I remember when I did have it thinking it was better than Diet Coke, but I think I tried it after Coke Zero became a thing, so it wasn't worth the switch. I'm interested if that's going to hold true, if I prefer Diet Pepsi to Diet Coke. Or if I'm going to like Diet Coke better, in which case this would probably be extremely nasty. But I'm still curious. I do like the can design. It's sort of consistent with Coke's coloration, where the silver denotes the regular diet variety. And yeah, that's about all I have to say. It follows the same line as regular Pepsi and the rest of the Pepsi line. It just happens to be silver. It looks clean, it looks slick, it looks pretty nice. All right, well, let's pop this guy open. And we're gonna give it a pour here and a smell test. All right. Yeah, it's standard cola color. I'd say it might be a little bit lighter looking than regular Pepsi, though I might be making that up. But it looks a little lighter to me. It is nice and carbonated, which is good to see. But yeah, standard color as expected. Let's take a sniff here. Huh. I don't know if I like that. Well, it sort of smells like Diet Coke in the sense that the sweetener smells familiar. It's got kind of the battery acidy smell to it that I get from Diet Coke. If you haven't seen my Diet Coke review, you should know that I'm not a big fan of Diet Coke. I think it tastes really gross. This is reminding me a lot of Diet Coke. I'd say the biggest difference is that the lemon lime sort of scent, more of a lime scent from the Pepsi, is very, very strong in the smell. Stronger than any of the other Pepsis I've smelled. Yeah, it just smells like a lot of citric acid. So I'm not sure how that's going to come through in the taste. Otherwise, it's just kind of a weak, sweet smell. Doesn't really smell like cola. It smells more like the artificial Diet Coke smell, which is not particularly appetizing to me. But we're going to see how this is going to go. So, Diet Pepsi. I'm not really sure how it's going to taste. It's been so long, but I know I've had it before, so this isn't blind. But let's see how it goes. Okay. All right, well, I can tell you right off the bat that Diet Pepsi is better than Diet Coke. Um, it's very simple, just like how Pepsi's really simple. It's just sort of a sweet liquid. It doesn't really have much flavor to it. The most prominent flavor is absolutely the sweetness. Now, it's not overpoweringly sweet. It's nowhere near as sweet as a normal Pepsi. It's definitely more subdued. In terms of the acidic taste that I expected, there's a little bit of it there, but it's really not much. It's got a small amount of bite, but it's not really substantial. The bubbles are a little smoother than a normal Pepsi, which I think is interesting. So they're a little bit more fine, small micro bubbles. So it goes down kind of smooth. Yeah, the flavor is artificial. It's got a little bit of that metallic taste, but I think the metallic taste is much less substantial than Diet Coke. It doesn't really taste like you're drinking a can necessarily. It's just a little bit of metal on the high end. And then the rest is just sort of artificial, slightly sickly sweet sugar water. It's incredibly simple. I don't think I'm going to have much to pick out of this. Yeah, it's just sort of it's acidic, lightly acidic, smooth, sweet liquid. I'm not really getting a cola at all. No spices or anything natural tasting. It just sort of tastes like an artificial substance. Yeah, it's not great. I think, though, if you are a big diet drinker, and for whatever reason you don't like Coke Zero, you don't like Pepsi Zero Sugar or Pepsi Max, this might be a good call for you. If you're just looking for a really simple flavor that has a little bit of sweetness, but it's not overpoweringly sweet, it's not too sickly sweet, the aftertaste is not bad. And that's the biggest benefit Diet Pepsi has over Diet Coke, is the Diet Coke aftertaste is appalling. And this doesn't really have much of an aftertaste. It's pretty good. I don't think it's a good soda overall, but in terms of diet sodas, which tend to have extreme problems with aftertaste, this aftertaste is pretty pedestrian by comparison. It's not bad. It's not bad. I don't like it, but it's not horrendous. I'm going to compare it to regular Pepsi here. Let's just pop this open. All right. Woo! What I'm surprised by is in terms of the main body, they're actually not too far different. They taste fairly similar. The biggest difference, the full flavored one, is definitely bolder, but only slightly. It's not like the difference between a Diet Coke and a Coke. It's just on the higher end. Pepsi has a little bit of this wow brightness to it that Diet Pepsi lacks. But the actual middle range of the flavor is about the same in terms of sweetness. There's definitely more of a bite to regular Pepsi, even though I wouldn't consider Pepsi a bitey soda. Definitely has a little bit more of a bite than Diet Pepsi. It's definitely got more of the citric acid taste too, whereas the Diet Pepsi does not have that so much. It's got a little bit taste, but yeah, I think this is fairly close. And I'm not sure if they tweaked the formula between the 80s version of the aspartame and the late 2010s version of the aspartame after they brought it back from switching to sucralose. But if this has been their diet soda since the 80s, it's pretty remarkable. If I had to pick this or Diet Coke, I would pick this 10 times out of 10. This is definitely a better soda than Diet Coke. I'm going to go ahead and give it a rating here. I'm going to go ahead and give that a 4 out of 10. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's average. I think it is on the bad side of the spectrum. But I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's awful. I think this does have an audience, and I think that audience is somebody who just wants to sip on something, not have much to think about, just want a little bit of their sugar taste fix, and aren't looking for any flavor in particular. And this isn't going to sort of abuse you with chemical taste. It's not going to abuse you with too much of a metallic taste. There's just a hint there. And it's just sort of a mellow, lightly bitter, not extremely bitter, like a lot of diet sodas tend to be. Diet Cola, that's really what it is. So 4 out of 10, that's what it's going to be. And I don't really have much to say other than that. It's a really simple drink, so I don't really have anything else to pick apart here. So I think it's kind of interesting as a big Coke fanboy that I prefer Diet Pepsi to Diet Coke. How do you guys feel about that? Are you, if you're a Pepsi guy or a Coke guy, do you have a preference between Diet Pepsi, Diet Coke? If you've only had one, you should try the other, I think. Especially if you've only had Diet Coke. I think you should give Diet Pepsi a try just to give it a chance. But yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say. So this is Sodanonymous signing off, and I hope to see you guys next time. Thanks.